Hey kids, this is your old pal, Captain J-Rab, with another interview with a fine friend of mine, Phil Bonner, who's a media artist, does projections in illustrating and cartooning and graphic design and projections. And so yeah, here we are. Phil, what have you been up to lately?
What have I been up to lately? Well, last night I did a show with a band that I do visual stuff with called Kingdom of Naught. And Kingdom of Naught is an artist named Dan Carbone, who he kind of has a sort of pseudonymous name, Bud Underwood, and another artist named the Slow Poisoner, Andrew Goldfarb. I don't know if you have heard of him or know about him, but they're kind of a very, very theatrical musical duo. And I first became aware of Dan years ago. I was, I think, 19 years old, and I had just moved to New York, and I was sitting around with some friends at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I know I was drunk. I think I was stoned. And this thing, we were watching Night Flight, and this thing came on, this crazy black and white film that sort of looked like an Outer Limits episode, only you could kind of tell it was contemporary. You know, and it was absolutely bizarre, and it had this kind of like, you know, Sunday morning religious movie feeling, but with this sort of Outer Limits Eraserhead kind of feeling, and you know, I was drunk and high, and I thought, man, I'm never going to see this again, and I'm never going to know what it is. And so, I don't know, about 15 years later, I was at Cell Space, and they were doing some open screening thing, and I came in, and it was playing on 16 millimeter, and I went around asking people, who did this? Are they here? And nobody could give me a straight answer, you know. And so it went by like another 10 years, and I was artist in residence at San Francisco's Garbage Dump at the time, and my friend Mary Armentrout from Mary Armentrout Dance Theater. I was working on a piece with her, this kind of weird, sort of psychodramatic movie that sort of took place at the garbage dump. You know, like this weird sort of fragment that I did down there. And she said, like, yeah, you want this guy named Dan Carbone, you know, and she gave me this guy's number, and I called him up, and you know, we knew nothing about each other, and he said, well, I'm kind of known for this thing that I did that aired on Night Flight in the 80s, you know, and I immediately said, oh man, the black and white, the alien that eats thumbtacks, you know, blah blah blah, you know, all these things in it, and I quoted whole lines of dialogue back to him, and you know, and so we kind of hit it off because of that initially, but then we had a lot of other things in common. He acted in my thing. Then I started doing a lot of video for his and other things for his performances. I was his air drummer. You know, I can show you video for that if you'd like. And he's got this really unique sensibility. He doesn't do film stuff anymore because he got really exasperated with sort of working with, you know, with other people under a deadline. He does sort of he did one man video stuff for a really long time in San Francisco, and became pretty well known for it locally. You know, so you know, and then he decided, you know, a lot of his stuff was really music based, and then he decided to have a band. And you know, he's been working with this guy Andrew, who goes by the Slow Poisoner, and that guy's very interesting. He's another just kind of one-man band. You know, he works with a kick drum and a guitar. You know, and sometimes he has these little picture elements. You know, like he was making these little things out of felt that he would put up on a board, like like you see in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
He'd sort of tell these little
Story
stories
time
with song and these like little felt figures that were on a board. So, and together the two of them really have this kind of amazing dynamic.
Do you have any video footage of this, plus with your projections, perchance?
Well, I have video of an early. I don't have any good document of what we've been doing. I mean, I did video projections for them last night. Usually what I do is I have one standard definition camera. A line goes out of the camera into a projector, and that's it. Like no switcher, no pre-recorded elements. I mean, what I do have is like little, like I make these little dioramas that I show. I mean, here's the little sun man. He's kind of the present day mascot of Kingdom of Nod, and
right.
Here he is on their provisional album cover, which I finally finished a couple of weeks ago, and am kind of dissatisfied with it, and blah blah blah. And here are some of these little dioramas that here's a cityscape.
Wow.
That these things take place in. Here's a weird little landscape.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love the how you can turn it around and have different scenes going on.
Oh yeah. No, this is like this carousel that turns around, and I can have all these little props and weird nonsense on the backside that sort of lives.
This would be a good frame for this show right here.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the comet or UFO or whatever that we've supposed to stop on the coast of California?
No, that's well, it might be, but I tend to think it isn't. I have a friend who was driving, and he saw that really close up. Like he was driving in somewhere between here and like Davis or something like that, and he saw that. But yeah.
Another unidentified flying object. There seems to be a lot of them. There was a couple actually visible from right in this apartment, probably around, I guess, New Year's or so.
Oh, really? Wow.
It was, but someone said it was candles and balloons. But then, how did it make the diamond shape? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you familiar with the Kuchar brothers, the filmmakers?
I think that name rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're sort of very well-known twin brother filmmakers, and well, George has passed on. He passed on about a year and a half ago. Mike still lives about 2 blocks that way, and Mike saw a UFO right on 19th Street in broad daylight. He has an amazing account of his sighting of this thing. I mean, the guy had a genuine experience, a genuine mystical experience of some kind. That it's hearing him tell it is absolutely amazing. He directed an early Kingdom of Nod video with Dan and myself when I was air drumming for them, and I can show it. I can show that to you. Actually, that's in the computer right now.
All right.
And when he was shooting us during one of the breaks in that, he told us this astonishing story of seeing this UFO. I can't even begin to
do it justice.
Do it justice by trying to paraphrase him or anything like that. It's amazing.
Well, can I ask, did it do some kind of aerial display that's just beyond our technological capabilities, supposedly?
It did that. I think there were also multiple things that he saw, and they were kind of all swarming around each other, and there was some kind of time travel element and stuff like that, and he had the experience of going inside the house because he just kind of wanted to process it. He didn't want to look at it anymore, and then he went back out a half an hour later, and it was still there. Like he went and he looked out of his window, and it was still there.
And nobody noticed it but him, or what?
Well, there was. He said that there was some other report by some woman in the East Bay at exactly the same time, but nobody else. I mean, this is like in broad daylight at 19th and Mission.
People just don't even notice what's going on just right above them in the sky, right?
I don't know.
I'd believe
what the story
that.
on that is, but Mike has a very compelling, description of that.
I would believe it, and I'm ready for a UFO sighting anytime.
Well, I think the only time I've ever seen a UFO, it was exactly that. It was. I don't think there was anything, extraterrestrial or mystical about it. It was just something unidentified, which was flying through the air, and it was on fire. It was. I'm a touring bicyclist. I was biking in Big Sur, and I was illegally camping near the Hunter Leggett military base. And I don't know, about 10 o'clock at night, I saw this thing just flying through the air on fire out towards the ocean. And, it was probably just somebody on the military base having a good old time. I don't think it was, it was exactly that. It was an unidentified flying object. I don't think there was anything. It was pretty mundane.
Or could it be military, industrial, light, and magic?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, let's see if I can. This is a new computer that I built myself. So let's see if we can get.
See what this looks like on Pixel versus Pixel here.
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of looking at that. There's a little bit of lininess to it, but that's all right.
Yeah, I'm so Windows illiterate that VLC maybe will do it.
That's always a surefire.
Yeah, it's a sure thing, right?
I wanted to say something to the viewers real quick.
Yeah.
Or a viewer, that is.
There's a viewer?
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
No.
Who's that? I bet it's Jeff Taylor.
It might be him, yeah.
Hi, Jeff, if it's Jeff.
Oh,
Jeff
no views.
commented on Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you're viewing Ustream, it is best to get the add-ons on Firefox, ad blocker, and, no script as well, so that you don't ever have to have any advertisements that you don't want. I think it's your right to view what you want to view on your own computer in your own home, or not even in your home, but wherever you are. So that's what I recommend. I don't get the ads so much on the mobile, but now that I have ad blocker on my computer at home, and I have for years now, it's great. It wipes out all the ads off of Facebook. So, they must hate that, and Ustream must hate it too. Sorry guys, but hey, it's my brain, not yours, and I can choose what I want to put in it, and I don't want to put a bunch of inane bullshit in it that you're selling. Sorry guys, and thanks for the free service. Okay, back to this media that we're going to check out.
Yeah, good. Let's see how this works. I'm not sure. This is Mike Kushar's video for. Let's see if it. Oh, here we go.
Oh, cool.
Oh no! Wait a minute. No sound. I gotta work this out.
It reminds me already off the bat of like a residency kind of residence,
some guy from Calix said that this is like of our video. Of our video-based live show, that this had the feeling of sort of an early residence show, This isn't exactly Kingdom of Nott. This is an early incarnation. That's Dan Carbone right there.
She makes you feel blue, and she is very old. She is from the Ice Age, an ancient being. It's like the mummy. Remember the mummy? You can run 1,000 miles, but you don't stop there coming for you. She may be slow, but she'll get you. She'll get you. You put an ocean in front of her. She passes through like a child in a bathtub. Ooh, darling. How she press your disc. Wherever you get. She keeps you coming. Big footsteps in the sand. The sand changes to ice. There's Mount Everest up ahead. I am shoes. Get over it. Get over it, girl. Get over it. Tonight, he sleeps. The rainforest becomes a red. An asteroid crashes through the trees, crashes into her head. She backs away like a fly. Fresh this morning, dude. She tiptoes through Krakatoa, east of Java. He speaks up on Singapore. There goes Singapore. What a bitch. She's in her North Pole now. A giant shadow comes up over the pinwheels. She's killing all the kitties. She's murdering all the mummies. She's sucking on all the flowers pops. Woo! She's and the demons. Everybody else screams.
Mike Kuchar and his video.
Wow.
And his whole kind of band concept has really progressed. Has really progressed since that point. This is like 4 years ago or something like that. It's really musical now. Andrew was a really amazing, musician, and they have all these kind of guest musicians on their album. Kramer mastered the album. They have this guy Billy Bill Miller, who played for years with Rocky Erickson. Does this? He's got this. It's kind of like an electric auto harp, or he's got some name for it. It's like this freaky instrument that he plays.
Yeah,
you know this guy.
I know the instrument.
Yeah.
The auto chord or something like that. I forget.
Yeah.
They're really cool. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and he kind of solos on a couple of songs on their latest album with this thing, and he's a pretty amazing character. Now it's a really unique debut album, and it's actually going to be, now that I've finished the album artwork, which I have to say I kind of made them wait a little bit too long for. It's coming out, like it's being printed right now.
Oh, good.
So it'll be out in the next week or so, I think.
Cool. Great.
Yeah. So it's really unique musical stuff.
So how about your cartooning and illustrating stuff? Are you could you show us some of that, as well as to tell us what you're doing with it?
I mean, maybe right out of the sketchbook I can. I started drawing again for the first time in 25 years. I sort of stopped drawing. I drew all through my high school years and kind of into my very early 20s, and then I just kind of stopped cold. I got more interested in experimental video and all kinds of other, weird nonsense. And I just, more out of being broke and becoming far less social, I started drawing again about 2.5 years ago, and I just started drawing every day again, and I got really into it, and I sort of very much enjoyed it. I mean, this is like my my sketchbook. This is my sort of daily improvisational sketchbook. I do a little bit of live, life drawing, sketching, and a little bit of like just kind of improvisational, weird, weird stuff in it. There's the harlot lady with the robot. Here's a man and another man in an air duct system. Here's Kingdom of Knot stuff that I've been working on. Here's this man. Some people trespassing in the garden. Here's like these people.
Wow.
Yeah, I have this whole narrative that developed in my mind when I was making this one. There's like these people, and that man has kind of turned his back on this charismatic leader somehow. That guy got angry at me. He was in the BART. I was drawing him. This guy was creepy as all hell. Like this guy was. Oh man, he like I saw him in the new Indian food place on Valencia Street, and he was sort of like, you could tell he was on psych meds or something, and he had just been made CEO of his weird little startup company or whatever, and he was just kind of droning on in a monotone to his like kind of beautiful Asian trophy wife about how he was, how he thought that the decision to make him CEO of his company was a good decision, and how he was good for the company and blah blah blah, and and he just like made that expression the whole time with his eyes downcast, with his head just resting on his hand.
Just very excited about it.
He was excited about it in this like really creepy, non-excited, drugged way. It was like really frightening. Here's a woman with a very small head and a man getting a hand job, and like sort of a party going on.
It's kind of a Burroughs kind of.
To me, it looks like San Francisco, Folsom Street Fair or something. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Here's something I actually saw in Mendocino while I was biking up there. Here's another day of biking in Mendocino.
Nice.
I drew this with a bamboo skewer. Like I was just like, I didn't, I was just like dipping a shish kebab, a bamboo shish kebab skewer in ink, and that was that. It's another Kingdom of Knot logo here. Here's some clouds. Here's the wounded stag. Here's a little weird little. How macro does that get?
Yeah.
Here's some vegetation.
Nice cross hatching.
Yeah, I get really into that vegetation kind of business. Here's the Sun Man. This is the first instance of the Sun Man. Here's my friend who plays jazz playing at the Revolution Cafe. Here's this weird little spider. Here's a shape. This shape is on the window at Muddy Waters. It's like some weird gunge that's on the window at Muddy Waters. I decided to draw one day.
Nice.
Here's more people. I have this whole narrative about these people, and there's the corner of 16th and Valencia. I have this whole story about these people. Here's some dwellings that I thought of.
You've got this
in Big Sur
kind of like portrayal of the mission. It seems like it's this kind of seedy, dark place. But do you feel like, how do you feel like it's changed? Obviously a lot, but
I guess I'd like it to be a seedy, dark place and not the fucking shopping mall that it is. I mean, once they widen Valencia Street, it really does feel like Palo Alto or something, doesn't it?
Right.
I mean, we've got like couture skateboard shops and beard trimming salons and shit like that. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
how do these
come on,
survive?
it's like an expensive super suburb. It's not a city anymore, I mean, here's a Godzilla. I realized I hadn't drawn like a kind of Godzilla character like ravaging a city and overturning cars and busting up buildings since I was like 11 or something like that. So I decided to draw
Were the
something along those
Toho
lines.
movies kind of like an inspiration to you?
Oh,
Or what?
hell yes. Yeah, I saw all those things. I have this memory of seeing Destroy All Monsters when I was, I don't know, like in 4th grade, on film in this weird little theater in
Wow.
Indiana, and I was so stoked about it.
Yeah, my first one was Godzilla versus the Smog Monster.
Oh man, with that Save the Earth musical number, I can see that being an influence on you. I drew this one by firelight.
Oh wow.
While I was in Big Sur. There's my bike. In Big Sur. There's my pack. I'm about to ride off. Here's some funny nonsense that happens. There's some people in their place by the ocean or something. I don't know.
Do you ever show your work in a proper gallery kind of thing? Or?
I feel like I haven't been drawing long enough to really show my work in a proper gallery. Like I feel like I haven't really been, like I'm just kind of getting to a point where I'm drawing figures plausibly and placing them in perspective. Like I feel like I'm still sort of finding a place where I want to be with drawing. Like I don't I don't know, I've been invited to be in a gallery show, but things were really crazy at that point. I kind of have no idea really how to present my stuff. I mean, I think what I really want to do with this stuff is presented in 3D. Now that I've drawn these things, I've been doing stereographic 3D work. Since I learned how to do stereographic 3D work at a place called George Coates Performance Works. Did you ever go to that place?
Mm-mm.
It's a place in the downtown area. It was right off of Civic Center, right across from where Scientology used to be. They had this giant theater in there that was basically kind of given to them by the city. The guy who started the place, named George Coates, he was very much in the lineage of people like help me out, Philip Glass, Einstein on the Beach, the other guy, Robert Wilson. It was very much in the lineage of Robert Wilson. It was kind of big experimental theater that used a lot of media.
Lasers and stuff, or what?
Yeah, he did use things like lasers, but he used stereographic 3D. What he would do is he would put his audience in polarized glasses, and then on the stage he would have a scrim, a perforated scrim that was painted with silver auto body paint, because white doesn't transmit polarity. And so, the polarized glasses would, make it so that one eye could see one image and the other eye could see a whole separate image. So he could make 3D virtual sets. And because this was a perforated scrim, he could light actors and actresses,
silhouette them?
No, actually light them from the side, so that they would, appear either behind the image or in front of the image, and they would inhabit these volumetric 3D images, and you would have these virtual sets that real human people would be inside of.
Seems like a holographics kind of thing.
It's just stereo 3D. I mean, it's not. It's not. He got all this credit for being a very high tech, director, but it's technology that's been around, since the early 20th century, and maybe even going further back. He did some really amazing things. I worked doing 3D stuff for him on two shows, and it was a real kind of education, and I've wanted to work that way. So I think with these drawings, eventually I want to make them 3D. That's kind of why I built this machine. This is a 3D monitor.
Can we check out some of it, or it would be kind of hard to convey that?
You're not going to be able to convey that, but I'll put you in some glasses right now, and we can, probably something will be conveyed.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can give it to me, then
everyone
else will take our word for it.
I'm sure there's good. I'm sure there's good. I'm sure there's good stories around the images. So
okay.
Here, let's put you in these glasses.
These are the polarized glasses.
These are the glasses.
Okay.
NVIDIA 3D Vision. This is a commercial 3D glasses.
Okay.
System.
Actually, I guess I can't really do that. You mean there's only one eye on this thing, so
yeah,
it definitely will not work for that.
Now this is for your experience and our.
Wow, it's actually cutting out the entire.
Why don't you sit where I am?
Okay.
So I have a better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to check out some 3D images, but it's going to be 2D or something for viewers. Okay. Ooh.
Okay. Is that sticking out?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's London. That's a place where I go in London. When I go there.
You're a British citizen, right?
No. My family. My parents were both British citizens, and they had me here. I am an American citizen by birth. That's my old job. That's probably sort of sticking out pretty far.
Yeah.
That's an Anasazi ruin in
New Mexico.
Yeah. Actually, it's in Arizona. It's in northeastern Arizona, in Canyon de Chelly. Here's the dollar store on 16th. Is that sticking out for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. This is the dollar store that I very much miss next to the Walgreens. It's gone. It's a place where I used to, whenever I felt sort of low, I would go in this dollar store and
stock
look
up
at
on
stuff
some
like
ideas.
this and this is these next few pictures are from Arco Santi, Paolo Solieri's arcology project in New Mexico. Do you know about it at all?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's like this enormous architectural project that he's working on. He's basically building a single building that functions as a 5,000 person city. And they've been working on it there for a long time. I think he's still alive. I don't know. I stayed there years ago, and it was super fun with my girlfriend and her mother.
Do you have to volunteer to stay there or anything, or?
No, you can just stay there. They have they kind of operate part of it as a hotel, and
mm-hmm.
they bring in interns. This is more Arizona, New Mexico, blah blah blah. Here's here's breakfast one day. I used to drink that yerba mate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is bad, I think it aged me. It's worse than coffee.
Wow.
All the hippies like it simply because it's green in color.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I think it's worse than coffee. It'll dehydrate you worse. Nothing is worse than that yerba mate for getting a headache.
Mm-hmm.
Getting this wretched headache.
Or giving you the jitters.
Oh yeah. There's Jeremy Bentham. Jeremy Bentham is
dead.
Oh, he's been dead for a very long time. But this actually, that's a wax effigy of his head, but the body is his actual corpse, which is behind glass in London. At King's College in London, and he so loved participation in the school of King's College in London that he made it a condition of his will that he would always be
on display
in King's College in London. His head got pretty gnarly. His head was actually stolen, I think, in the early 20th century, so they keep it in a vault now, and they have this wax effigy of his head.
Wow.
There, I always visit him. Here's a Sasquatch. There's the Sasquatch in Seattle. How's that sticking out?
Sasquatch in Seattle. I like that.
Yeah.
It looks good.
It's pretty 3D, huh?
Yeah.
There's my bike in Big Sur.
Now, what kind of a camera do you use to take the 3D images?
These are non-3D cameras. These are all taken with phones and Palm Pilots and cheap digital cameras. I take one exposure for one eye, I take another exposure for your other eye, and that's how I do it. You know, if I have people, I tell them to sit still. I tell them to stand really still. You know, this is one of my favorite things to do is biking in Big Sur. You know, this is about my favorite place in the world.
Well, you're from Wahanda, right?
I grew up until I was 8 years old in Wahanda. Yeah. There's my bike. This is like kind of nails the experience of it right here. So,
yeah, that's why you do it right there.
That's why I do it right there.
Yeah, Big Sur is fantastic.
Here are these girls who fell asleep during finals time at the art school that I used to work at.
There's that bridge in Big Sur.
There's the Bixby Bridge. I was biking down there one time, and I talked to this guy who like drove a tour bus, and he was turned off at this like Vista Point here, and he was describing how he drove a cab in Monterey at one point, and he got a call, and it was this Japanese woman who wanted to come out to this Bixby Bridge, and he told her it's going to be very expensive to drive out to the Bixby Bridge, you know, because it's like
about half an hour drive or whatever.
Yeah, it's a long drive down there, and she said, money is no object. I have to go to the Bixby Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he drove with her down here to the Bixby Bridge, and, you know, he kind of sat at this Vista Point from where I'm taking this picture, and then she sort of ran out, you know, to the middle of the bridge and jumped off.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, here's some. I love these things. You know, like these kind of things. I keep a
just
large
splatters of plaster and
chewing gum and whatever.
Wads of things.
Yeah,
I do that
things
sometimes
on the
too.
Street. I keep a large collection of these. You know Kevin Harris, right?
Maybe not.
Yeah. Oh, he used to live in this room. You know, he's a real aficionado of like gunge on the sidewalk, you know, as well. And he sort of like turned me on to this hidden world of.
I do that sometimes too with
gunk
stuff.
that's on the street. Here's Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee's grave sites.
Up in Seattle, or
up in Seattle. Yeah. Here's some Brussels sprouts. It's kind of one of the better 3D shots that I think
that conveys it pretty nicely.
Came out with. Can I look at the glasses for a second?
Sure.
I'm sort of like, yeah. Oh, dude. Here. Okay. You weren't getting the experience, I don't think.
Oh yeah. Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
you're really getting the experience, I think.
Now I am.
Yeah. There you go.
Wow, and I'm also getting a sort of like a
flicker.
Vibrational kind of,
a flicker. It's like it flickers at 60 hertz.
Mm-hmm.
Like each eye flickers at 60 hertz. It's like if you look at the sun, it looks like a fluorescent lamp now. Like if you look out the window, like it'll look like a fluorescent lamp.
Well, I wish you guys at home could see this. It's really quite amazing.
Yeah. Oh,
wow.
Jay, I'm sorry. You were not getting the effect. Yeah.
This is it. This is amazing.
Here you go.
What did you do to adjust it?
The glasses were off. I just turned them on. I'm sorry, man. I should have looked at them before. Here's England. That's the block where my mother lived. Here's the Woody, One Great Wiener Dog. This is the pet cemetery down under where the Golden Gate Bridge starts.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's very interesting.
I've seen him around a lot, actually.
Yeah. He is the roommate of, no names here, but he is the roommate of probably the most well-known costume noise artist working in San Francisco right now. This guy is a diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic who owns a handgun. I was going out with a friend and I think ex of his at one point, and he kind of threatened me at a party. You know, and then subsequently I found that he was contacting under an assumed name on Facebook, friends of mine going back to the 5th grade. You know, yeah, but I kind of sort of became on good terms with him long enough to steal his soul by taking this 3D picture of him. You know.
And you did, obviously you do the 2 pictures.
Yeah. This
Right.
is the chewing gum wall in San Luis Obispo. Have you seen that?
No, but it's great 3D.
Oh, it's a huge kind of alley that people fill with like chewing gum.
Oh my
And they
God.
make these weird effigies, with chewing gum in this
Funky.
alley in San Luis Obispo. It's quite amazing. There's my friend's son, Kieran. Here's my computer and Dave's
Wow.
drawer.
So
Here's
cool.
The Coors Light display in the supermarket that I quite enjoyed. Here's some things I never should have given to my ex. This statue is from New Orleans. This is where I first got the idea of having somebody. I want to make a narrative about somebody whose dick is a cube. And I don't know. Here's a
wow.
I found that somewhere. There's Dan.
Yep.
Dan's probably that's in San Diego. Let's see. There's a dollar store again. I'm all about that dollar store.
So what program do you use to process the photos into digital?
There's an open source thing called Stereo Photo Maker, which it'll align the pictures for you and stuff like that. I used to just cross-eye view these things. Put them next to each other, and I could cross-eye view them together, and that's how I edit these pictures. There's Donald from 3 Day Stubble, who I've done a lot of work with.
I remember him.
Very, very cool guy. During the phase in which he had a neck beard. I think my friend Kristen said to him, you realize as long as you have that neck beard, you're not going to have sex ever. And he said, yeah, I know. This is like
it's a monk thing.
A journey that I'm on, Yeah.
Well, if you do find the right person in that case, that they're real.
Yeah. I don't think he found anybody who is, there's me on the grounds at Esalen Institute.
Oh boy, so have you hung out there at all?
A little bit. I had an ex who used to work there, so I got guested down there while I was riding in Big Sur, and I'll tell you, it's an interesting place to be, for sure.
Yeah, I've done the whole hot tub and 1 in the morning thing.
The tubs are great there. I would do that on my bike rides more, but there's kind of nowhere nearby to stay.
Yeah, well, you just pull over on the side of the road. Check out these cool shades, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I'd like to even mess around with this technology myself. Do you have to have a super computer to pull it off, or what?
You need a kit. Really, you don't. You need a current computer. You need something that's like Intel processor. It's a technology that's kind of not compatible with Apple. That's kind of why I built this PC. And it's you need the right monitor for it.
Why are the dingbats down at Apple not participating in this?
Good question. I don't know.
Because they got the whole, what is it called again? The rectum monitor or whatever there.
The rectum monitor.
The recta something or other.
Really?
What is it called?
Oh, the Retina display.
Retina. Sorry, not rectum.
Yeah.
The
rectum monitor. I was like, I'm not.
The rectal monitor.
I'm not up on my technological.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you remember Johnny Fellman? That's Johnny Fellman.
Oh, Johnny, hey, nice.
Yeah.
I can't see anything on this. It's so funny, these things just completely wipe out the...
Yeah.
Johnny over in Thailand right now.
Yeah, Johnny's in Thailand right now. He's the fruit lady. Kristen is the fruit lady.
That looks like the inauguration of the Pleasure Dome. We were just talking about that movie.
A little bit, yeah.
Nice colors.
Oh, yeah.
I liked your diorama stuff, though, a lot. That's where I met you, actually. You were doing a play, and you're doing I'd never seen anyone do visuals like that, where, you had...
Where it was live.
It was live, and you had a small camera, and you were rigging that through... I guess projecting it right onto the screen.
Directly to a projector. I think I might have had a switcher at that show, so I had 2 cameras that were switching back and forth, but they were both live feeds, nothing pre-recorded. I mean, that's how I like to work live, because that makes it into kind of like amplified visual theater. I mean, it's not, there's nothing more boring to me than going to live show and somebody has pre-recorded
Yeah.
visuals. It's not. It's not interesting. And my entire sort of career doing this stuff in the late 80s. I worked with somebody who is really one of the pioneers of doing this the way that it's done now. A guy named Benton Bainbridge, who was a childhood friend of mine. We met when we were 10 years old and kind of grew up together, and we had a kind of video band together called Lord Knows Compost. And he does really amazing experimental video just with live analog synthesis, like analog video synthesis, like generating visual images directly from, directly with oscillators and oscillators and voltage control the way synthesizer musicians do with music.
Wow.
And he does fantastic stuff. But he does really amazing experimental live, real, playing video, playing television in real time, kind of analogous to the way that musicians play their instruments.
He jams.
Yeah, he does. He certainly does. But he also, he also has found really kind of high-profile commercial venues that he's placed himself in to do this stuff. Like he did video support for the Beastie Boys for a really long time. And that kind of, like he tours with a lot. I think he toured with some band. Like I don't know what the goddamn kids listen to these days, but like, some band called Dream Theater. Do you know about them at all?
I don't know what the kids listen to either.
Yeah, he was touring with some band called Dream Theater. I don't know what they sound like. Or they looked like some metal act or something like that. And I guess they were like really popular.
In fact, I think that we were looking up that guy Andy Wallace, the engineer, producer guy, and that might have been one of his gigs, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think that name rings a bell, actually.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but whatever. Yeah. Wow, interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like that's kind of like how I got onto doing that sort of stuff, and I still do a little bit of that kind of stuff. I was doing it last night.
We should get together and do that because
let's do that.
If you go scroll down here on Ustream after we're done here, you'll see that I've been doing the visual and the audio stuff. But it'd be great to not have to do both, and also, of course, to collaborate would be even more amazing.
Right.
So
cool, man.
Well, let's wrap it up here. Thanks for hanging out, everybody, and thank you, Phil, for hanging out and talking.
Man. It was fun.
We'll talk soon.
Fun.
Cheers.
Yeah.